Welcome back everyone! So today we'll be diving into our part 1 review series of Coastal Cabana, the highly anticipated EC that will be launching this December in Pasir Ris.
Why is this highly anticipated?
Because there was no EC launches in Pasir Ris for the past 12 years already lor.
So anyway, for this part 1 of our series review, so based on our research, we found out that actually there are 3 EC that launches in Pasir Ris around the same period. And by studying these 3 ECs, we've uncovered what are the buying preference in Pasir Ris and also how does this stack against the EC in TamPines. So stay tuned and we'll discover more later in this video.
Coastal Cabana is located along Jalan Loyang Besar in District 18 in Pasir Ris. It's over here. Actually, it's just quite near the Pasir Ris MRT station and also the future Pasir Ris East MRT station. It's directly opposite of Downtown East. Actually, you just cross one traffic light, can reach there already. And also minutes walk to Pasir Ris Park and the beach. And then also nearby there are malls like Pasir Ris Mall, White Sands. There's also other recreational places like the Pasir Ris Town Park and also the sports center.
So in my opinion, Pasir Ris is actually a peaceful and low density town that feels slow paced and relaxing. So also a very good mix of like HDB, private condos and even landed property. It's also quite close to like an office hub such as like a Changi Business Point, industrial areas like Loyang and as well as Changi Airport, which also could translate to healthy rental.
Actually many people think that Pasir Ris, or I always call Pasir Ris Paris lah, very ulu lor. Because from here, when you go to Central, it takes a very long time.
True I don't disagree with you because currently Pasir Ris is only served by one MRT line, which is the East-West line. So if you need to go to other places, like for example the North or the Northeast, right, you actually need to change train, change bus, this sort of thing lah. That's why the upcoming Cross Island line will really benefit the people staying there. So take for example this Cross Island line here. Pasir Ris will become an MRT interchange, and from here you can also go to places like Punggol, where there is the Punggol Digital District.
Okay, so previously it takes about 40 minutes to get there because you have to change train and buses and all this, right? However, with this line, you can save about 25 minutes, which is about more than half the time taken. So not only that, you can also use this line to go to other areas like 𝑭𝒊𝒂𝒑𝒐𝒄, Bright Hill, 𝘁𝗵𝒂𝒂𝒑 and Hougang, which are all the MRT interchange. So with all these interchange, you can actually swap to the red line, the downtown line, the Thomson line, and as well as the purple line, which is going to be very super convenient already next time lah.
I just want to talk more about Paris, because to me, Paris is a beach town. And in Singapore, there are not a lot of towns that you can see like that one, you know. Moreover, for this side, it's not really so much of a hustle and bustling kind of vibes. Throughout the entire 80 over ECs that launched in Singapore since 1999, so far only 2 of them are along the beachfront, which is Watercolours and Sea Horizon, and Coastal Cabana is just the 3rd one only. So I think that it's really nice to be able to stay in somewhere like that, but buying an EC helps me to reduce my costs. Because other than these 3, what other condos usually have sea view? Usually it's along ECP correct?
Then what about the price tag for the properties along ECP?
Oh yeah, don't need to say one lah, the price is surely so much higher than here correct?
So actually for Pasir Ris, I usually do see a lot of people coming here to cycle and do like water activities or maybe even just stroll along the beach area. And another good thing I like about here is because I used to serve a client who is staying at Sea Horizon, which is just beside Coastal Cabana only. So for him, actually he can just walk to the MRT station. It's a stroll maybe about 10-15 minutes to the MRT station at Pasir Ris. But luckily, Downtown East also has their own free shuttle service to go between Pasir Ris MRT and also Downtown East. So if you're staying at Coastal Cabana in the future, you can just cross the road to enjoy this free shuttle bus service.
It's so good actually Downtown East has changed so much throughout the years. Last time used to be just chalets and also the escape theme park. You all remember or not?
Yeah.
And all that. So actually today in Downtown East itself has so many things already, like eateries, bars, and even cinemas out there. It's like more of like a shopping center already lah.
Okay, so some disclaimer before we continue. Please do your due diligence before you decide to make any purchase.
So Coastal Cabana will be a joint venture between 3 developers such as TamPines, 𝑭𝒊𝒓𝒄𝒂𝒑𝒐𝒄 with all their good track records and notable projects such as 𝑭𝒊𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒐𝒄𝒄𝒂𝒑𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂 Also, there's a lot of track record with EC developments such as like the 𝑭𝒊𝒏𝒈𝒂𝒑𝒂𝒑𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂𝒂 got style living and as well as strong long-term appeal.
Okay, project details for this EC, we will have a total of 748 units, housed in 16 blocks of 11 to 12 stories with a roof terrace, and it will even have basement car parks as well as tennis court as well. So architect will be P&T consultants, and land size is approximately 305,000 square feet. Until now, right, we don't have much other information yet. For example, like the number of car park lots and the unit mix. But it's okay, we will just share whatever information we have right now. Probably you can tune into our part 2 series next time for further updates. As for the TOP dates, right, it's not being provided so far, but some of our colleagues went over to take a look at the construction notice hoarding, and over there is written that the expected completion to be third quarter of 2028. But all these are still subjected to the developer's final information that is not yet provided. So just take a pinch of salt if we're talking about the completion date over here lah.
So since the beginning, there are a total of about 6 in Pasir Ris, 6 ECs in Pasir Ris, and we have indicated over here in the map for you. The ones in pink color are the ones that are a little bit older, and then the newer ones in blue are these ones. So if you have noticed, around 2014 to 2016, there are these 3 ECs in Pasir Ris that just TOP. So that will mean that their MOP dates are also quite close to each other, and that will allow us to study the behavior in terms of the buyer preference when it comes to Pasir Ris, which I feel might be helpful for you guys watching this video. And also, the last EC launch here was Sea Horizon, which was launched in 2013. And that is over 12 years ago since the last new EC supply in the district. So Coastal Cabana marks a rare opportunity for new homeowners and also upgraders in the east side to enter into an EC market in the east. So by the time Coastal Cabana MOP, it will be estimated around 2033. Sea Horizon will be about 17 years old since TOP date already. So in terms of competition, when it comes to selling, it might not have so much competitors in the market next time also, which is good for people in Coastal Cabana.
Okay, so comparing Tampines to Paris, you can see that actually Tampines has been continuously launching of an EC, such as Trillion, Park Central, Tenet, Orel, and the upcoming Reveal. So for Pasir Ris itself, it has been actually rather dry. This explains the strong pent-up demand we're expecting for Coastal Cabana. So size-wise itself, you can see that Coastal Cabana has a bigger land size and the most number of units. In Tampines, the closest comparison will be Orel. So what will be the difference between people who want to stay in Tampines and those who want to stay in Pasir Ris? What do you think people will choose Pasir Ris for?
I think just have different vibes long. So anyway, when we analyze the data later on, more or less we can see some kind of purchase behavior in Pasir Ris already. Right, so I took out the data of the 3 ECs in Pasir Ris, mainly Watercolours, Belysa and Sea Horizon. So Watercolours is the one in blue, Belysa is the one in red, and Sea Horizon is the one in yellow. And if you remember, right, Watercolours and Belysa, they launch around the same timing, so MOP timing is around the same as well. While Sea Horizon, they actually MOP 2 years later, so naturally, right, the PSF should be higher than the other two because they're older, correct?
I think so.
But you notice over here, right, in year 2002-03, right, there's actually an intersection. So it's very strange, how come, right, the older development, the PSF still higher than the newer one suddenly? Yeah, I'm thinking that maybe the size is big, so the PSF become lower for Sea Horizon. And then I went to change from PSF, right, for the 3 bedrooms, I went to change this into the total price instead, in terms of the average for 3 bedrooms. And the price of Sea Horizon and Belysa 3 bedrooms, right, is still around the same. You can see over here, the total price transacted, through the years, more or less is still the same. So I find it a bit strange, and we decided to investigate a bit more about this thing lah. Okay, and I found out over here, right, that for Belysa, actually a lot of the 3 bedrooms average price, I feel that there are a couple of transactions that are, in terms of the sizing for Belysa, it's actually very big. Why? Because the sizing here for 3 bedrooms is about 1,300, 1,400, and even up to 1,008 square feet. So that could be one of the reasons why these transactions have failed to push up the average price. And for these bigger units, right, you can notice that a lot of them are actually on the ground floor. So for example, this is on level 1 we see here, right? The sizing are about 1,003, 1,004, which is on the ground floor. And some of them are even the penthouse units over at the 18th floor. Right, so just take note that for these units, right, in the resale market, what is the price gap that consumers are willing to pay for the non-ground floor unit compared to the ground floor unit, as well as how much the consumers are willing to pay in terms of the price difference for the PSF, for the penthouse unit versus the normal units. So these are the things that we should actually take note of when we are buying these units in the resale market. So I give you an example, right? We can see over here 0114 ground floor unit, right? It's sold for a price of about 1,001. Okay, so back then, in terms of the transactions, there's actually a price gap of about $200 between a ground floor unit and a non-ground floor unit. So when it comes to like maybe you want to buy a ground floor unit in the resale market, if let's say the owner is asking for the same PSF for this ground floor unit compared to the normal units, right? Then maybe I feel that it's not worth it to pay. So these are the things that we actually have to take note of when it comes to buying in the resale market. If you're considering buying a ground floor unit in maybe Coastal Cabana, these are the things that you should take note of. How much are buyers willing to pay in terms of ground floor versus non-ground floor, or penthouse versus non-penthouse. These are the things that we will actually be able to guide you through for Coastal Cabana itself. Okay, anyway, right, for these floor plans over here, I went to dig out the floor plans, and these are the few layouts that have successfully sold in the resale market. Actually, I'm quite surprised that a lot of them, you know, with such a big patio area, right, they managed to sell in the resale market. And we can see here that even for the penthouse, the top floor is actually just an open roof terrace. That means that I cannot really use this space on. So I'm actually very surprised at why is this behavior like that.
So actually, in fact, throughout the years, we look at the transaction of Belysa versus Sea Horizon. For instance, in 2022, you can see that Belysa and Sea Horizon actually are transacted at around the same PSF. However, moving forward to 2023, we can see that actually Belysa has more incremental as compared to Sea Horizon. When you look at the floor plan of Sea Horizon, actually looks very okay, right? Right. Look at the bedroom; it's actually all very proper size.
Actually, the bedroom too is super huge.
Oh yeah, now that you mention, and we can also see that actually it has quite a spacious dining area, as well as a walkway, two ways to walking to the kitchen itself.
To investigate further, right, we can see that by right, because both are around the same PSF initially in the resale market, but as their time passes, right, the age actually is more or less 2 years difference only. So the pattern of the characteristics of the condo and the behavior of the buyer start to come out. And from here, right, for example, these two transactions that we can see, for Belysa, 969 square feet, 1.35 million. And around the same timing, right, for Sea Horizon, a bigger unit, 1109 square feet, sold for around the same pricing. Okay, in fact, for Belysa, the PSF is much higher. And in another one over here in June 2025, 969 square feet, sold for 1.37 million. And then over here, the pricing for Sea Horizon is actually very similar, but the PSF is actually much lower. Why actually?
Yeah, it really doesn't make sense on paper for something older and smaller to sell at a higher price compared to the newer and bigger units. So we found out that this is the layout that was sold for Belysa, with a very nice layout and also a landscape living and dining area. So even though there is no balcony, people will still like it.
Wow, that means that actually balcony may not be the most important for the non-ground floor units.
Yes, it is not necessarily important. So we also found out that for these two units in Belysa, the facing is towards the landed area. So this means that there's a lot of privacy for this unit and it's not internal facing. So I think the combination of privacy plus a good layout really helped Belysa to stand out in this case.
Now, right, even for Belysa itself, we notice another pattern. And remember the ground floor and the penthouse units that we talked about. I found out that for the same year, for example year 2022, the penthouse sold for 1.66 million, and this is a 3-bedroom penthouse. Remember that there's a 3-bedroom and on top is an open terrace. And this price transacted, right, in fact it can be more than the regular 4-bedroom units sold over here, which is around 1.4 to 1.5. And in another year of 2023, the ground floor actually 4 sold in 1 year for the ground floor. And furthermore, the 3-bedroom ground floor pricing, some of them can be even more expensive than the regular 4 bedrooms go over here. Why?
Actually, when you think about it, it might not really make sense. Because normally when we do project review, in this kind of situation, we will normally recommend the 4-bedroom. Okay, so right now, after discovering this, actually this is something that we cannot analyze on paper one. That's why you need someone who can actually know what they are doing, especially when it comes to unit selection. So looking at the floor plan of Belysa itself of the 3-bedroom and the 3+ study, the 3-bedroom, the PES is 463 square feet, whereas the 3+ study, the PES is 366 square feet. So actually I recall for this development, right, the PES you can actually make it fully cover one, not just the zig track, but you can really put out the grills and all to cover up this entire place.
Even the ceiling?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. But you cannot build another bedroom in the balcony, correct? Even though I have extra space to use.
So exactly, this is why we come to the conclusion that actually people who buy into Belysa condo, it's all about the lifestyle. So for the ground floor, they really love it. They don't mind paying more even compared to a 4-bedroom. So for the higher floor, actually the privacy and the layout is important to them. So these are kind of the buyers that will actually flock to Belysa.
That's why we can see over here, right? The price gap between Belysa and Sea Horizon starts to widen in terms of the PSF as time goes by. Initially, when Sea Horizon MOP, let me just get the slide, or very close to just after MOP, right? In fact, it commands almost the same price or even higher price compared to the other resale ECs over there. So buyers will naturally flock over to Sea Horizon to get the newest available resale EC. But as time goes by, right, when both developments start to age and they start to become very 𝘁𝗍𝒂𝒑𝒐𝒓𝒄 right, then that's where you can see the differences start to surface out in terms of the PSF. As you can see over here, for example, in year 2025, PSF for Belysa is around this range, while the one for Sea Horizon is around here. So after I see this, right, I will tell different things to both development owners already. For example, if you're holding Sea Horizon, I rather you cash out and move on to something else if you already have plans. Okay, because I don't think that you should hope that just because you're 2 years younger compared to Belysa or Watercolours, right, doesn't mean that your price will overtake them already. Because at this current age, to me, it really doesn't matter to the buyers anymore. And at the same time, right, for Belysa owners, are you holding the right kind of layout and the unit type for here? Because if you think that you can get the pricing of those units that so far have commanded a higher PSF in Belysa, then you really need to analyze if your unit type is actually one of the better performing unit types for Belysa, because there are reasons why, for example, people come to Belysa to buy certain type of layouts or facings.
So now we come to analyze Sea Horizon, which I feel is important because it is just right beside Coastal Cabana. In future, Coastal Cabana will be on this side. So for Sea Horizon 3-bedders, we have grouped them up in 3 different facings. The red ones are the road-facing units. The black ones are internal facing. And then the blue color ones are privacy or sea-facing units. So we can see here, in terms of the PSF in the 3-bedroom types, right? There's actually not much difference in the PSF in the resale market. So people buying Sea Horizon for the 3-bedroom type, if you get good facing or lousy facing, the resale market also pays the same one.
Oh, really?
So our conclusion is that since there are 3 ECs to choose from for 3-bedroom types in Pasir Ris, there is Belysa, there is Sea Horizon, and there is Watercolours, right? If people want like a better facing, they would go for Belysa with like more privacy lah. And if they were to go for bigger size, they want a more comfortable space to live in, then I think Sea Horizon will be the choice that they go for. But when we go to the 4-bedders in Sea Horizon, right, we see here, the green ones are the sea-facing units. The black one is internal but blocked, you can't really see the sea view. And blue is the privacy-facing units. So you can see here, for the sea-facing units, people actually pay more.
Wow.
Yep, so that's the reason why analysis is important. Because different location, the buying behavior is all different. So even for the same condo, the purchase behavior is also different for the different unit types. So you just saw already, for the 3-bedroom type, people don't care about the facing in terms of PSF difference. But for the 4-bedroom, people are more than willing to pay for the sea-facing units. So that's our conclusion for the ECs in Pasir Ris. And for the condos here in Pasir Ris, it might be a different result again. So that's why we spend a lot of time to analyze all these details for our clients so that we can advise them what is the best information, and that's how they come to trust us fully lah.
So to emphasize on Yuki's point, maybe you have a good look at the comparison of the 4-bedroom and the same level during the same period of time. Okay, so if you look at this, this is about the same time frame and the same level. Stack 34 and 08. Okay, so can you guys guess which one actually stack 8 spaces?
C.
C. Okay, what about 34?
Road.
Okay, so now you all guess what is the price difference?
Wow. Is it a lot?
Guess lah.
100?
100k. Let me just show you the results. So you can actually see from the road facing and the sea facing, the difference is about 190,000. Okay, so it's about $169 in terms of PSF difference and about a near 12% difference. Okay, so not only is 0808 pool facing, it also faces the sea as well. So actually we can show that from here we can see that actually buyers are willing to pay a premium to enjoy the sea view.
Okay, now we compare the 3 bedrooms for Sea Horizon versus Watercolours. I'm just going to cut very briefly about this because all along we have been talking about Belysa and Sea Horizon, so I want to talk a bit more about Watercolours. And you can see that generally, like in terms of the pricing here, for Watercolours, people only want to pay below the price of Sea Horizon. Okay, so that is the purchase behavior here between Watercolours, Sea Horizon and Belysa. And to sum it up, right, in terms of the 3 ECs that are very, very close in terms of the age, and then when it comes to the resale market, what we conclude, right, is for Belysa, that is the top choice in terms of the 3 bedrooms when people come and buy here. Why? Firstly is the privacy of the units. A lot of them are either facing towards the front, which is towards the road. But even then, if people can't really look into the unit, and towards the backward facing, it faces towards the landed enclave. So that gives it a very, very good clearance. And not only that, also has a lot of privacy. And for the 3 bedrooms, 969 square feet, right? You can see the layout is beautiful. You have a landscape living dining layout, and then the kitchen also follows suit. So here will be very, very bright. They still have a so-called yard and a utility room as well. So even though there's no balcony, right, generally people don't really care, or they don't mind still paying for this unit. And on the lower floor, let's say on the ground floor or for the penthouse, actually these PES, they really, really love this. You can see in a certain year, for the 3 bedrooms, ground floor unit, 4 units were sold, and these were at a higher price quantum even compared to the 4 bedrooms that were on a higher floor. So in paper, it doesn't really make sense, but generally this is the purchase behavior in Belysa. So people looking for a lifestyle and people who are looking for a nice layout with privacy, generally they are willing to pay more for Belysa. And the second choice will be for Watercolours. Okay, if they need a 3 bedrooms, but they want it of a certain age whereby the remaining lease is not so much, then they will go for Watercolours because in terms of the price quantum, it is much lower compared to Sea Horizon or Belysa. So this one is the cheapest 3 bedrooms around there. In fact, now if you look around, probably around 1.25, 1.2, you still might be able to get a 3 bedrooms there. And rental price is still quite decent there. If I'm not wrong, the last done there was around $3,000. So for a purchase price of about 1.2 million, I think it's really, really quite decent. And lastly, for the people that are looking for certain house size, you need something in the 1001, 1000 and 1300 square foot size range, right? Then they will go for Sea Horizon. So in this case, right, Sea Horizon is somewhere in the middle, whereby it's not the cheapest, but it's still also not the best in terms of the facing and the layout. But what I'm trying to say here is that this is the purchase behavior for the resale ECs in Pasir Ris. And the reason why we can do this is because there's 3 to compare with. Okay, but let's say if we're coming to talk about Coastal Cabana, probably the only choice that we can have in Pasir Ris. But in terms of the unit selection, we have already shown you, like for example, the 3 bedrooms, do people really pay more for the different faces? And then to 4 bedrooms, right, what are the things that people are looking at for? I mean, if you have watched through this video so far, more or less you'll be able to have a grasp of the purchase behavior here.
So let's review the recent new EC 3 bedroom prices. So we have taken a few that is the latest one and the most demand. So we'll be using a lot of 𝑭𝒊𝒓𝒂𝒂𝒑𝒐𝒄𝒄 as a reference point because that is the most relevant to Coastal Cabana. Anyways, we also noted that the land price of this EC here, and they can actually help us to compare the prices for Coastal Cabana. So we're looking at the Aureal Tampines, the 3-bedroom. The average price sold was about 1.55 million and the highest is about 1.749 million. So we can see from here that generally Tampines, the prices are more expensive than Pasir Ris. But because Coastal Cabana actually launched at a later date than Aureal, I feel that there is a high chance that Coastal Cabana will launch at similar pricing to Aureal. So we will use this as a benchmark for our calculation. Okay, so actually we can see that even Aureal is not the most expensive in the 3-bedroom sold here. We also put out some floor plans of Aureal and Autoplay just for reference. The reason is that because they are the latest one and they are actually harmonized. So it's more relevant when it comes to talking about Coastal Cabana.
Wow, actually looking at the layout, right, it's super efficient 872 square feet, 3-bedroom, still got storeroom. Then 947 square feet is 3+ study. And the room sizes are very good also.
So hopefully the layout for Coastal Cabana will be good as well lor. So we will review them in part 2 series next time.
So let's have a look at how much a young couple at 30 years old will need to get a 3-bedroom unit in Coastal Cabana, just assuming that the price is about maybe 1.58 million. So if their combined income is about 12,000, they will still be eligible for a grant, which is the EHG of about 10,000. So based on MSR to calculate their loan, right, the maximum loan that they're eligible for will be about 754K. And the total down payment will be here, adding up to about 864,000, including the buyer's stamp duty. So the monthly installment will then be about 2.5K a month, which I feel maybe is quite comfortable also for people at this age. So the total down payment may seem like a lot, but that's the beauty of ECs, where they have this assistance called the deferred payment scheme, which will split the payments into 2 different parts. So assuming that the purchase price is still at 1.58 million for deferred payment scheme, the total down payment will still be the same at 864K. The first part, initial down payment, will be 364K. This includes the stamp duty, so help me ignore this. And then the second part will be the balance payment, which is 499K. This will be during booking period. And then this will be closer to key collection.
So where does this money come from?
This amount can actually come from your sales proceeds. By then, when you sell your flat and then you receive your sales proceeds, that's when you can go and go for your key collection.
Okay, so that means I'm required about 860,000, but actually because of the deferred payment scheme, I only have to come up with about 364,000, and the balance I take from my house, correct?
Yeah, correct.
That's very helpful.
So we also see another scenario now. If the couple had a combined income of 16K instead, 16K is actually the ceiling for applying for an EC. So we just take it as, these people, they earn the highest ceiling amount. The maximum loan will now be about 1 million, 1.005. Then that will bring down their total down payment, including stamp duty, to about 623K. But in this household income, they will not be eligible for any grants anymore. And then the monthly installment will now then be about 3,400 plus, which is, I think, still quite comfortable.
Okay, and just now we saw that the average 3-bedroom pricing for Aureal was 1.58 million. This Coastal Cabana will be launching later. Maybe the 3-bedroom pricing also will be about the same. Because anyway, for Aureal, the floor plans are also already harmonized, right? So using 1.58 million, for example, and then I'm looking at Tampines, right? These are the average prices transacted for the 3-bedrooms in the Tampines area. And then we can see that there's a list over here. Like for example, for Parktown, the average is about 2.42 million. And then when we go all the way down, we have other condos like 𝑑𝒓𝒐𝒑𝒆𝒔, which is about 1.75 million. And then for Treasure at Tampines, it's also about 1.697 million for the 3-bedrooms on average. And these were the past 1-year transactions. So for Aureal to come in at 1.55 million, I think that is very, very safe compared to the resale counterparts or even the new condo prices of the 3-bedrooms around here. And I also want to see, like for example, for Coastal Cabana, will it be in the same way or not? So we have also captured the data over in Pasir Ris. Okay, and then for the 3-bedrooms average pricing in the Pasir Ris area, we have used our app to do a live calculation. or live display to show you that within this 1 year, what is the average pricing transacted for the 3 bedrooms in the Pasir Ris area. And then we can see here that even if we enter in at the same price of 1.55 million, to me I think that is still a very safe price, because the resale condos, like for example the Pellet or even Pasir Ris 8, they have transacted at a price of 1.7 to 2.1 million dollars. But if you are looking at a shorter holding period, right, maybe I can also recommend you to see something like Coco Palms. We have seen that the price of 1.61 million is very close to the 3 bedrooms pricing of 𝑭𝒊𝒊𝒄𝒂𝒑𝒐𝒓𝒆. So if Coastal Cabana do launches at 1.55 million, it is a safe price. But I feel that maybe for a shorter holding period, and if you're looking to move in immediately, right, maybe the resale market also gives you good choices, like for example Coco Palms or Pellet, because the price gap is actually quite narrow between these resale condos. And for these condos, right, they are actually nearer to the MRT station compared to Coastal Cabana. So if you are considering something of a 3 bedrooms in Coastal Cabana, maybe you might also want to check out these options as well, because that saves you a lot of time and you have lesser holding period. So if you do want to explore all these other resale condos as well, feel free to reach out to us.
Now we come to the 4-bed and 5-bed transacted pricing for the recent EC. So over here, those in TamPines, you can see like for Tenet, it's transacted around 2.256 M. And then for 𝑭𝒊𝒊, it's at 1.972 M.
Wow, 5 bedrooms so close to the 4 bedroom price of Tenet.
Yeah lor, that is likely due to harmonization, which allows the 𝑭𝒊𝒊 layout to be smaller yet more efficient, and also allows the total price to be very close to the 4-bed in Tenet. For the implications for harmonization and how it affects you, you can also feel free to reach out to any of us and we will be happy to guide you. We have some sample layouts for Tenet and 𝑭𝒊𝒊 for the 4-bedroom and the 5-bedroom type. So you can see for the 4-bedroom types, they are as small as about 1,001 square feet or 1,000 plus square feet. And then there is also the slightly bigger ones that's around 1,002 to 1,003 square feet for 4-bedroom. Over here. And then for 5-bedroom also, we have about 1,003 plus square feet. And a lot of these layouts we can see here is more of a landscape living and dining, which is actually very nice.
Okay, and then we are taking an average 4-bedroom pricing of maybe let's say 2.1 million. And then I'm assuming that a couple, both 40 years old, husband and wife, they're earning a combined income of 16,000. So without grants, their total loan amount will be about 900,000. So let's say if they're going for something at $2.1 million, then the down payment required for this property will be 1.265 million, with a monthly installment of around 3,006. And this installment is based on today's rate. That is the best rates that we have so far. So daily this changes, and if you want to check out what is the daily best rates, do feel free to reach out to us. So with that being said, right, we also do have the deferred payment scheme which you can use. And how it works is that you just have to pay for the 20% including stamp duty, and that will be around 494,000. So you pay this amount first to book the unit. You continue to stay in a HDB flat, and you don't have to pay any ABSD. So when it comes to closer to key collection, right, that's where you need to pay the remainder 770,000. Just take note that it does not include a stamp fee. It's a writing error. This part already includes a stamp fee already. Okay, so closer to key collection, if you choose to go for this deferred payment scheme, then this 770,000 is required before you collect the keys. And this amount, usually what our clients do is that we take this from the selling of the house. So just to simplify everything again, during the booking and up through the first few stages, right, which is within usually the first 2 months, you require a down payment of 494,000, and this includes a stamp fee. So you book the unit for this EC, you don't have to pay any ABSD, you continue to stay at your HDB flat. And then closer to key collection, you sell your flat, and your house proceeds will be used to pay up for this balance 770,000. And that's how people manage to afford to pay for the ECs, even though the down payment can be quite high. That's why they're using this deferred payment scheme. Of course now, if I'm not wrong, government is also looking to so-called increase the income ceiling for new ECs. So progressively more people will be able to afford these new ECs as well. And just now we were using a $2.1 million average pricing for Coastal Cabana. I'm using it for calculation purposes. But true enough, the actual average pricing for 𝑭𝒊𝒊 4 bedrooms is actually only about 1.97 million. So similar to the 3 bedrooms comparison that we have just now, now I'm comparing the 4 bedrooms in the Tampines area, and we can see that even for new product, like for example 𝑭𝒊𝒄𝒄𝒑𝒐𝒓𝒆, at this pricing, it's certainly very safe in terms of the entry price for the 4 bedrooms, because there are other condos already transacted 2.3, and even Parktown have done at 3.17 million. So that's why during the launch of 𝑭𝒊𝒄𝒄𝒑𝒐𝒓𝒆, this unit type was a hot seller together with the 5 bedrooms. And now we will see this for the Pasir Ris area as well. Okay, so if I just use the same price, 1.972 million. Okay, I use this price, I gauge it over in the Pasir Ris area. Then in terms of the entry price, it will be somewhere along here. Okay, 1.97 million. Okay, so I just draw a line here. Similarly, when we compare to this Tampines, right? Okay, this is the safety buffer that we have for Tampines when it comes to the 4 bedrooms EC. And then now let's say we are talking about Coastal Cabana, then there are so much more other condos that have transacted higher than this 1.97 million, which we are actually so-called using as a gauge for Coastal Cabana 4 bedroom. But same thing like the 3 bedrooms, right? I do see over here that other condos here, for example, Coco Palms, Ines, it is very similar pricing to Coastal Cabana already. That's number one. Number two, the location of these resale condos, right? Actually, they are nearer to the MRT compared to Coastal Cabana. So same thing, if you are thinking about the 4 bedrooms over here, you know, of course you want to go for something new, you can go for Coastal Cabana. And the thing about this EC is that everybody enter around a similar pricing. So in terms of the exit in future, more or less, you know, you will have the margins over there. But if you're looking for something that you can move in immediately, and you feel that, hey, I go for this one, I move in immediately, I don't overpay, and potentially also I can be nearer to the MRT, then these are the units that, you know, are actually transacted, which makes it a very good value for money. Of course, right now when we look for the units there, we also have to see whether there's enough supply that can give you this kind of pricing. Okay? And then now, when we see the 5 bedrooms for 𝑭𝒊𝒄𝒄𝒑𝒐𝒓𝒆, right? They transacted average price of 2.38 million, and same thing, it gives a very good safety buffer between 𝑭𝒊𝒄𝒄𝒑𝒐𝒓𝒆 and the other units that have already transacted for their 5 bedrooms. Okay, now we see for Pasir Ris, 5 bedrooms, if we use the same pricing, right, 2.38 million, then we can see that for Pasir Ris, maybe this pricing is not so accepted in the area for 5 bedrooms. Because why? Only 3 other developments have transacted higher than the 2.3 million that we've quoted just now. So I think that it can be a bit risky. But I'm also thinking, why is this the case for Pasir Ris? But why Tampines this is the case? Right, so we dug a bit deeper, and then we found out that for this pricing, maybe people want to buy a even bigger unit. Alright, and then this is what we see in Pasir Ris. Because Pasir Ris, there is a lot of landed, especially near to this Jalan Loyang Besar area. So with the price of this 2.38 that we're using here, right, you top up a little bit more, maybe another 100,000 more, you can actually get a landed terrace house. And even though they are leasehold, I think that when you compare condo and so-called a leasehold landed, right, it's about the same kind of comparison. It's just that for the landed, we have to be very sensitive when it comes to the remaining lease. But I believe that at that kind of price point, right, people are actually going more for the landed itself. So this is something that you should take note of if you are considering a 5 bedroom at this kind of pricing. Of course, if let's say Coastal Cabana launches the 5 bedroom, they manage to do a very nice layout, hit the size low and quantum low, then of course, by all means go for the 5 bedrooms at Pasir Ris. But if it's that kind of pricing, then maybe I will just wait for the 4 bedrooms or 5 bedrooms at Tampines, or I'll just straight away go and buy a landed over in this area. Okay, and when we see this pricing for Pasir Ris, if we compare together for the one for Tampines, then Tampines, even though there's not much landed, but the landed transacted here are very high pricing. So when you can see the statistics over here, transacted pricing for landed can be about 3.9 to even $4 million already. So it really makes sense to buy a 5 bedrooms in Tampines. And that's how the consumers are actually thinking when they're going for the bigger units over in Tampines. So please just take note of this if you're considering the bigger units in Pasir Ris. So for example, maybe if I have a choice of 1,000 square feet Pasir Ris 4 bedroom versus 1,300 square feet 5 bedrooms in Pasir Ris, then maybe I would choose to buy the smaller one because the quantum is much lower. I feel that in terms of the exit next time, it's much more safer.
So actually previously Jay was just sharing about the difference between the resale and the new. So I'm going to share a little bit more with you today. So back in 2019 when 𝘁𝗵𝒂𝒑𝒐𝒓 won the bid for the 𝑭𝒊𝒓𝒔𝒂𝒂𝒑𝒐, the expected price to be for the PSF is 1.25 to 1.35. Okay, and in 2019 itself, right, there was this project that is sitting quietly on one corner called 𝑭𝒊𝒓𝒔𝒂𝒑𝒐𝒓 was actually launching at the same price. So guys, if today you have the opportunity to purchase a condo at EC price, which one would you prefer? Condo, right? Yeah, I think this is quite a no-brainer. And shall we take a look at how the 3-bedroom at 𝑭𝒊𝒓𝒔𝒂𝒑𝒐𝒓 perform today?
Yes, please.
So you can see for the 3-bedroom at 𝑭𝒊𝒓𝒔𝒂𝒑𝒐𝒓 today, after a holding period of 5 years, actually this is the amount of profit they have actually made, up to $621,000. And minimally also $500,000 lah.
Well, actually that's very fast because if I go for EC, I have to wait for 8 to 9 years.
That's right.
Then this one 5 years, I take the money out. Maybe I can sell one by two.
That's right. So I guess there is more opportunity when it comes to buying into a private condo instead because of there is no MOP period in this aspect lah.
And the pricing makes sense.
That's right. Okay, so looking at what the opportunity today, let's take a look at the upcoming EC and compare a condo that is actually in the market today. So maybe you can have a look at the upcoming EC, the land bid price, as well as this brand new condo that is in the market today. So you can see for Canberra Crescent residences, you can see that the land bid is actually at 793 PSF PPR. And you can see for the rest of the upcoming EC, which is Coastal Cabana, 729. And then you have like 𝑭𝒊𝒏𝒈𝒂𝒑𝒐𝒓, TamPines, as well as Watercolours are actually about 700 plus. So there is actually a very small price gap between this Canberra Crescent and upcoming EC. So do you think that actually Canberra Crescent residences is something that we can consider entering into, looking at the history of Park Central and Treasure TamPines?
I think we should explore a bit more.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you can see that actually for CDL, they actually put in the bid for this upcoming Woodlands, and they already has stated that the upcoming launch price should be around $1,009 to $2,000. And this is just for EC. As you can see for Canberra Crescent residences, the launch price is about the same PSF as the upcoming EC. So let's take a look at the average price of a condo in this region itself. At the average price of $1.5 to $1.7 million, would you rather buy something that is brand new, or would you buy something that is actually older?
New.
You will buy something that's new, right? I think it's quite a no-brainer.
Actually, all these are older also.
Yeah.
Those at the top.
Yeah. So actually you can see the prices here, right? The older developments already has already transacted at a higher price for something that is new. So if you ask me, I will see that there is more opportunity in purchasing something that is new, at the same time at a lower price point. Would you guys agree with me?
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's very safe because in terms of the PSF, 1,009 per square feet, and then we also see that the upcoming EC that's going to be launching in Woodlands next time.
That's right.
Newspapers have already quoted that the PSF pricing is going to be about the same. So that's for in terms of the new comparison. And then when it comes to the resale market, we can see over here, average price of 1.685 million, even when we compare to the resale, it's very cheap already. So there's a lot of safety buffer when it comes to buying this product itself.
So we have come to the end of our part 1 review series for Coastal Cabana. And since you've watched so far already, please do give us a like and a subscribe. And we really appreciate your support. So it gives us a lot of encouragement to do more videos for you guys in future.
Okay, so besides Coastal Cabana, you can also just feel free to reach out to us if anything regarding to the property, as well as the new upcoming launches such as Revell, EC, or other resale condo or new launches as well.
Okay, that's all, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thank you.
Bye!